Hello everyone and welcome to the GMS Magazine channel. I am Paco Garcia, your host, and this is a new series of videos in which I'm going to do what you've asked me to do, which is to show you some of my collection of games. I have been playing and collecting role-playing games for decades now, and I have a few little gems here and there that I would love to share with you, and just to show you basically what they were. I'm sure you have some gems of your own as well, and I hope that you will take this as an encouragement to show them to the world, see what rarities there are out there, especially those of you who live closer to where these games were invented, because I can assure you in Europe we didn't get as many, as in nowhere near. So please do show me, because I bet that there are some absolutely wonderful little things out there. So, I wanted to start with the game that started it all, because it's also the game that means the most to me, which is, of course, Dungeons and Dragons, that started in this beautifully amateur white box so many years ago. Now, before I delve into why I think this matters, why I like it, and why I want to commemorate it, I am also going to acknowledge the recent events that have been going on with Gary Gygax's son, with Ernie, and the newly appointed TSR that has been, as of June and July 2021, doing the rounds for showcasing incredibly bigoted and gatekeepy arguments and behavior that do absolutely zero good for the hobby. Now, I am not going to go into whether they have the right to behave in that manner or not, because they do, or whether we have the right or should be complaining about it if we see something that we don't like, because we do, absolutely. And for those who are defending their stance, sorry, no. Just the division, the arguments that it is sowing within a hobby, when this is an activity that should be reuniting and bringing together the people that enjoy D&D, not worth it. It's just not worth it. The price of nostalgia, it should never, ever be the price of division. That's not the right currency. And I am truly sorry, and I don't care who Ernie Gygax is, or who the other two people who've been associated with him are. I am not interested in somebody who is not prepared to incorporate gender identities in their games because they don't consider them to be important. You know, they are important to the people who live them every day. Trans men are men, trans women are women, and trans lives matter. And so do non-binary people. And if you're not prepared to acknowledge them, if you're not prepared to acknowledge that they exist and they have the same exact right to exist that you do, I am not interested in you or your product. If you're going to go out there like Lanasa did, and by the way, there is going to be a link down there in the video description to a blog post where I will put every single one of the screen grabs of these tweets that I am mentioning. If you're going to call somebody disgusting for being trans, like Lanasa did, I am not interested in having you in my hobby, because I don't want somebody who called trans people disgusting on the base of what? Bigotry? Nothingness. I am not interested in people who will out, like you did, Lanasa, outing Ernie Gygax as autistic, when he's never mentioned that before, as far as I know and I am concerned. And that is an absolutely disgusting behavior. I am not interested in people who say, if you didn't like Gary Gygax, then you shouldn't play D&D. Screw you. Who the hell do you think you are to tell anybody who can play D&D or cannot play D&D? That is not up to you to decide. We will play whatever the bloody hell we want. And if we want to say that Gary Gygax was a bigoted old man who never ever got to understand that women had the same brains to play role-playing games as men do, we will say it, because we owe absolutely zero respect to the memory of a dead man who somebody like Lee Gold had to put the phone down because the only thing he had to say to her in the 70s when she called him on the phone was, "Oh, you're a woman. You're a woman." When Lee Gold was the most influential woman of the 70s. So no, we don't want you in our hobby. And if you want to have your own little room in the hobby, by all means, but don't complain when we point at you and we look at you and we say that you are a bigoted person. Don't complain when you go out on Twitter saying that you wish you had had a Tommy gun in your violin case so you could shut some of the smiles and laughter when you were learning to play violin. Basically saying, I wanted to do a school shooting. Don't think that we are not going to look at you and say, you do not represent my hobby. You do not represent the game that has changed and saved my life. You do not. And whether you belong in this hobby or not, I'm not going to argue that. But you belong in a different place. You don't belong close to me. I don't want you close to me. And an awful lot of people don't want you close to us. Like Gen Con don't want you close to us, or Hong Kong, or any of the other cons that have actually banned you from being there. And that is not because Wizards of the Coast has orchestrated some sort of attack. That's a QAnon level conspiracy bollocks that you've invented. This is all because of your behavior. This is not because we are trying to cancel you. This is because we are trying to cancel your behavior. Stop behaving like a bigoted, entitled, stupid teenager incel, and we will stop complaining about that. So, having said all of that, I absolutely love D&D. I don't think I would have got along with Gary Gygax like at all, and I am so pleased that at least he has one level-headed son, Luke, who I can look at and say, damn, at least you're doing good by the legacy of your dad. Because quite frankly, Gary Gygax doesn't really deserve that much of my respect, and he doesn't have it. And I am not going to stop playing D&D, and an awful lot of people are not going to stop playing D&D, and Wizards is not going to stop trying to make D&D a better place, and definitely not on the say-so of somebody who makes two women fight in a grid pool to give them a promotion to the winner for their tattoo parlor. No way. You have zero of my respect, and you will have zero of my money. Simple as that. So, what do we have in this beautifully amateur, gorgeous looking little box that both Gary Gygax and Arneson started? Well, you know, there's one thing to be said about D&D. And I think it's tapped on something really primal in the people who get close to it. D&D is going to be 50 very soon. It's nearly my age. It's older than me, actually. Damn. Yeah, about. And it has survived. It has survived several editions. It has survived many iterations. It has survived an awful lot of controversies, an awful lot of mistakes, an awful lot of sexism and misogyny, and an awful lot of homophobia. It has survived it. People who advocate for feminism and social justice and equality and diversity, such as myself, we still love it. Even though I acknowledge the problems here. But way lots of people love it. Because it touches on something that I don't know what it is. But we just love it. So whatever it is in this box. It is in these little books, these trio books that came out at the very beginning in 1974. There is something here that endures, that survives, and that is absolutely wonderful. And I can acknowledge all of that, acknowledging as well how problematic it is a game that only takes into account femininity when it's a curse, and has absolutely zero diversity and an awful lot of very racist stereotypes. And I can still think that it's absolutely amazing that it has managed to do that. What was inside this, though? What is it? I don't know. But the charming naivety of the production is part of the things I find so endearing. The, drawings done obviously by young people who didn't know how to draw very well, and yet there they are. the fact that when you go through this, you still get the very, very basic bare bones of so many things that can still be used today, that you could, with a little bit of tweaking, implement in your games. There is a sense of fantastic and fantasy freedom that I really, really love. They also got it right, even though this has drawn an awful lot of criticism throughout the years, about having the 3 books. One for, some men and magic, because, in the time, women and magic, wow, how could you? And then you have the monsters, and then you have the world. These 3 formula still endures. It still works. And yes, you may say, oh my God, $150. But you know what? It still works. That's the way it goes. How everything is. And yes, I keep this in very good condition, as you can see. It's absolutely wonderful to have it. By the way, if you hear some banging noises, don't be surprised. That's because my dog has found a bone, literally, and is playing with it, and there is no stopping him. I'm sorry about that. But it's my dog, and he lives here, and you don't. So anyway, that's the second book. You still get exactly the same monsters that we get today. It is that root of the matter that is so wonderful. So absolutely wonderful. Dragon, you see, it's a dragon. We need to know it's a dragon. That's the thing about this, it being so charming and so endearing. It's like, I don't know. Really, you had to tell me that that's a dragon? And look at the maps of the underworld. I mean, this is cartography of its simplest, finest. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So, when you think about D&D and all the issues it has, all the problems, I think it's worth mentioning how it has grown, how it doesn't matter who it came from, it doesn't matter how many problems it has, it still touches a nerve today. And that is probably always going to be its biggest and best achievement. That no one can take this away. Was the owner somebody with deplorable views? Yeah. Absolutely yes. Are there things in these books that we need to eradicate and change? Yeah. Absolutely yes. Are there things in these books that, we could reuse? Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely yes. I think, despite all the issues that we've had recently, despite all the mishaps by Gygax, their children, all the family feuds, all the mistakes that Wizards of the Coast has made over the last few years, all the improvements, I think it's important that we just look at this, and at the very least, just because it's brought some of us together, that we can acknowledge, that we learn to see that this game matters a lot to a lot of people for a lot of very different reasons. But none of those reasons justify the bigotry and the gatekeeping of wanting everyone to play just the way this is. D&D is more than just a game. It's a massive concept. And concepts belong to everyone. Absolutely everyone. And that means people like me. And I'm truly sorry, but that means that it's also mine, not just yours. And if I say, and people like me say, that we want to see ourselves in there, that's because we have exactly the same right that you have to want to see yourself in there. Because this little box in here is way bigger than any of us. And absolutely every single one of us should have a space inside the box. That doesn't mean I want to share that space with people who think I shouldn't exist, or who think that my trans friends are not the people they are. Sorry. If I say that, I'm going to try to kick that stupidity out of my environment, because I don't want it. But other than that, I really hope that we get to enjoy D&D for another 50 or 100 years to come, because this game, what it has done, it matters a lot. Thank you for watching.